So this morning I got a letter from Tom Kelly from the Daily Mail saying I'm doing another article. And the main reason why they're doing this other article, is because, we're winning. We're basically holding them accountable. We're putting them to rights. They are not used to this. We've really riled their arrogance and their hubris, like big time. Yeah. But they're running another article on the basis of them running another article. As I said, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to be up and down in terms of intensity. It's a ride we've got to have, and it's a ride we've got to take. And I will show you how to handle this. Does it make sense? But the bottom line is with this guy is what he's doing now, because he's like, I'll fire this guy, man. This guy. Okay, he's on a mission, which is cool. Let's do this. And I'll show you how I'm going to be doing it now. Because it's apparently illegal to use, to bring out someone's name in relation to child abuse. Or anything like that without the person's consent. And we didn't understand the personal consent, but however, she has given us consent. She has given us consent. She's given us consent on tape before when we've spoken about this very thing in detail, and I said, may I share this with others? Or is this something that I can share, or am I going to keep quiet? Can I share this tape with other people? And she said, yes, I want this to be out. I want to face my parents. I want this to happen. So I do have permission. That's the first thing. I don't not have permission. I do have permission. That's the first thing. And so the second thing is, as soon as they told me, though, in the spirit of decency, even though I have permission, and legally I can do this, I immediately took that down, that part of it. We took it out, then we put screens up or whatever it was, or we deleted some of it. So this is how I'm going to respond to Tom Kelly. He thinks he's getting a private email, still going to happen privately until it comes out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read this live now. I'm going to read the letter live, and then I'm going to handle the letter live, and I'm going to ask why, if I've done something illegal, isn't the police here, and why is it now going back to the Daily Mail? And the reason being is because her family is hiding desperately behind this thing. They're hiding behind the Daily Mail. They're using the Daily Mail. They've got someone in their family member, whatever it is, they're using the Daily Mail as a rod to try and beat this little business called Lighthouse. That is what they're doing here. This is bullying of the extreme nature. Yeah. The fact that we got that out there was an error. I hardly even realized that it was in there. Until it was brought to my attention and I immediately took it down. However, she gave me permission. She hasn't not given me, you can't get it out there as long as you have permission.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm not going to be giving a full response to Tom Kelly's last time was a 17,000 page document, and all they did was twist the truth that we did give. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 70,000 words.
70,000 words, I gave very, very little. Does that make sense? So you understand how we're going to handle this. We're going to read it online, and then we're going to handle it. Does that make sense? Is this recording now?
It is, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. You can use this as well, I suppose, if you want to. Should we just do it? So this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to read it. So this is our meeting. So you can put that online, actually, Suk. We can put all this online. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
So here we go. So we've just had, as we're about to sit down, we just got it is now, what is the time now? What's it now, 10:30. I just recently got an email from Tom Kelly from the Daily Mail. From Tom Kelly of Daily Mail and the muck rack. I don't know who puts more muck on the rack, or if he is the rack with the muck on it, or whatever is he doing. But what I'm seeing from the Daily Mail is we're dealing with a newspaper here, guys, that's the bottom of the journalistic barrel. Let's just talk about the medium. The medium is a message, okay? I would never want anything that I ever wrote, or everything I ever did, or on Reddit, nor what I wanted, which is the dirtbin of the internet, and I wouldn't want it in the Daily Mail, which is the dirtbin of journalism and media, and specifically in the written word, as far as newspapers are concerned. This is what you need to really understand, okay? Tom Kelly's a bully. What psychopathy takes a job like this and gets paid for it, and walks around full of power because he can get a few pages out there, get something online, which will just refute and just expose them for who they are. And eventually, along with, television companies that are now, contacting me to be able to get this out and to be able to see the truth and do the investigation. And many of them are speaking extremely, disparagingly of the Mail. They've been kicked off Wikipedia, the Mail. This is a nasty piece of work. It's a menace. The Mail is a menace. And we're going to be talking about misogynistic behavior and misogynism, something like that, which is hatred or whatever of women. we're going to be talking about that, and some, certain people have pointed sort of, without using that word, pointed a sort of finger at us and some of the things we've said that we want to make clear on. We'll talk about that, but also talk about the importance of taking accountability and taking responsibility and what's behind that. But first of all, what I want to do is I want to read this straight. He wants a response. We're going to give him one. And at the end of the day, the bottom line, they're going to be held accountable for this stuff, because what they wrote about us on the first article of 2 pages was when they had reality and they had truth, and we told them they had the evidence, they wrote it anyway as part of a smear campaign. These people are smearing us. The Daily Mail is now smearing us. They are now a platform for trolls and people who want to destroy us, and the Daily Mail is working with them to destroy us. That's the bottom line. That's what you need to understand here, everybody. So I'm getting this out, and I'm getting the response, and I'm getting what they're going to be writing before Daily Mail even get it out. Okay? The first time he now hears from me and a response to this will be this video. I'm going to send it to him straight after this, as soon as we get it right. Yes? Sook? Okay. So this is what he's wrote. Daily Mail inquiry, Ari new Lighthouse story. So it's a story. It's not life. It's not people's lives. It's not children. It's a Lighthouse story. It's a story to him. I mean, these are psychopaths, man. Right? Dear Mr. Waugh, we are doing a story about you illegally naming a victim of child abuse on social media without her consent. The first thing I want to say is that we do have a consent. Is he saying, did you have her consent? No. Their lawyer wrote to me, or it wasn't a lawyer, I think it was a legal executive, I think it was, called Lizzie, I forget her surname, Lizzie Green. And she wrote me a letter, and I put her straight. I said, we do have consent. And we have consent recorded, because when all this was done, when we had our many conversations to her, this particular person I can't name now, or I'm not, actually I can name. She's not revoked that. Okay, the lawyer said we can't do it if we can't speak online about a victim of child abuse without her consent, but I have a consent, and she hasn't taken that consent away. So legally I can still talk about it. Out of decency, I'm not. Out of respect, I'm not. But there's a lot of reasons why the police aren't rocking up on my door to arrest me, and why the family aren't doing so. And the reason why the family aren't doing so is because they don't want this to go through the courts. They don't want this side of the story to go to to go public. They don't want this to go through the channels that will hold their family accountable for the terrible abuse that has happened in that family. I'm not mentioning names. The terrible abuse that happened in that family, of the worst possible physical nature, whatever that means to, whatever you can imagine that to be. Okay, without mentioning the words. But I'm just telling you now, or the name. Although I can. There's no way around I can't. These people went into the public domain because I never gave them a discount. This whole article is a smear campaign on the basis that we never gave them a discount where they went. They're holding us accountable like they're holding businesses accountable all over the world, and these businesses are dying and being destroyed and going out of existence. People are closing their businesses down because they can't afford to give discounts, and they can't afford to get their names smeared. For refunds. What did I say?
Discount.
Oh, sorry, discount. Okay.
Yeah.
No. I might have negotiated a discount, but please, man, being here for years and years and years, and then please.
Yeah.
So this family have put this poor person up, really, and she is extremely, bless her, extremely, damaged and in a bad way. And my heart went out to her massively. I don't believe this is her. I believe this is her so much. I believe this is her family, and I know it's her family. I know from the past it's her family. They did a whole private investigation on us and came up with nothing. So what they're writing now is speculation and hearsay in order to break us down. This is the bottom line, guys. Seriously, you anything that comes out of the Daily Mail, I mean, take it from a pinch of salt. None of the other newspapers are interested in this. There are media companies and film companies and so on, like, for example, I won't even use names, okay, that are very prominent. You all know them, household names. Most people have watched a movie on it or whatever on these channels. Okay. But the bottom line is they're very interested in us holding the Daily Mail to rights and holding the smear campaigning to rights and the hating to rights. And, people are being held over a barrel here. People are being smeared and they have no money to fight it. They don't have the ability to take them to court. So most of the times the Daily Mail get off on this sort of stuff. And they get off on it. They get off, where they should be held accountable. They get held accountable all the time by the royal family. They get held accountable all the time by everyone else because, quite frankly, they have the money. Most people don't have the money. We want to put an end to that, and we're going to put an end to that. So they can do this. You can do this, Tom Kelly. You can do this, Danny Mel. You can do this, Adam, who needs a lot of luck, Adam Luck. Okay, because you're going to need a lot of luck, Adam. Because a lot of luck. Like, I don't know how much luck does one Irishman, Tom Kelly, have? Because you're going to need it all. You're going to need a collection of leprechauns. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is wrong, and no matter how many times you put it in the paper, it doesn't change the reality of the first article and the truth of it or the falsehood of it. And it doesn't change by bombarding us and victimizing us in the press. All you've done is taken it to a new level. And the difference is that you at the Daily Mail don't have the proof and we have. So eventually this is going to go to court and you're going to be held accountable. And the family behind this, that where I mentioned the child abuse, it wouldn't have been mentioned. I didn't mention it for a year before that. I only mentioned it after the Daily Mail because this person was quoting us and was quoting me going off on one day because this particular person was actually destroying the life of somebody here, including the life of their own mentor. Which is why I said, what are you, a witch? What are you, man? Where do you come from? Who are you that you are destroying this person? And I went off on a tirade of swearing. I barely swear anymore. Seriously. That whole situation put me up so badly, I hardly swore, I've got better and better at not swearing at all. If I swear, I don't know, if I use 20 swear words a week instead of 20 swear words a sentence, it's a lot. Guys, it's a lot. Okay, so I'm getting better and better and better at this. I'm improving all the time. I'm transitioning. I'm transforming. But this is just bullying. This is exactly what they do. This is playing out. They're seeing all the stuff. They know they're getting beaten. They know they're getting shamed. And they're being named. And they're just playing a game with us. The power of the press. They're so high on their horse of hubris, their hubristic pride. You can imagine Tom Kelly smarting and seething. Because they never expected. We're supposed to be destroyed by this, guys. And we're not destroyed by this. We're doing better than ever. Tom Kelly, we're doing better than ever. We've got people coming into our organization now that say, I can see the darkness, I can see the bullying, we can see the mail. Guys aren't taking you serious. You're embarrassing, Tom Kelly, Adam Luck, and the rest of you. You're embarrassing. What you wrote about this poor person, Angela, I forget her surname, in the comments about misogyny and the misogynistic sort of attack on the Labour minister. Shadow, I think it's Shadow. I think no, it's not Shadow. It's, but anyway, but in that circumstances, under those situations, being in a situation where the Daily Mail, going out there and smearing people and nailing people. It's got to come to an end, guys. It really is. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Someone came past. At the end of the day, the bottom line is, we're going to read this. We're going to go through it. We are doing a story about illegally naming a victim of child abuse. Now, let me just say how the law works, according to Lizzie Green from the Daily Mail, or works for them. And from what she's saying to me that you can't mention somebody of child abuse without their permission. Well, I have their permission. And I have it on the recording. We have total permission for it. Now, Tom Kelly, please don't not put that in, that's my statement. This is my statement. You've got to put it in there. Don't say, would you please give me all the facts, all the information, everything that you have so that we can have a balanced, fair representation. Because we gave you a 17,000 with backup, with evidence we said we can't even give you, and you wrote a biased, prejudicial article in the first article about us being a trendy life coach. How interesting I would wear this today, because today's trendy life coaching day at Lighthouse. Okay, look, man, you're making yourselves embarrassing. You are an embarrassment working at a Daily Mail. You walk out there and go, I'm an editor at the Daily Mail. Are you proud of that when you go to a pub and you say that? Because you ought to be ashamed, the way you operate. But the bottom line is here, is that we haven't been illegal. We haven't done something unlawful. We haven't done something illegal because she gave us permission to do that. But I find it fascinating that they haven't held me accountable by law in any of this. They haven't held me accountable civilly. They haven't held me accountable criminally. They haven't sent the police around. And I'm telling you now, if I was her family, the last thing that I'd want to do is have another article on this very thing, because now it can be kept anonymous, but it's going to go to court, guys. And your family and all your members and this person is going to have to come out. And how terrible is that? Yeah. We didn't want to mention this. For a year, we hardly responded to the trolls. We didn't want to be in this position. It's this family that first got a private detective, then whatever. These are, people who live in glass houses where the house is of horrors. Not just a glass house that's full of sweetness and light, like flowers. Okay? Believe me, there's no hothouse flowers in there. It's hothouse abuse of the worst possible nature that is in this family. And yet they're so full of hatred and so full of hubris, and they've got away with this abuse so long. They think they can go to the newspapers and somehow and talk nonsense that this is not going to come out in court and that they're not going to come out. They're basically exposing themselves. Tom Kelly, you're nailing these people, not us. You are nailing these people. The people that are interested in our work and our programs and our work and our characters and our competence and our work here aren't the type of people who read the Daily Mail and believe it, rub their hands together, get all hateful. These aren't our clients. All you're doing is helping up. You actually, in a way, illegally and lawfully, doesn't give you the right to do it, but you've literally helped us separate the toxic from the healthy, the unhealthy from the healthy in terms of what we're doing here. It's created a great division throughout the world, and the correct and the right people with some conscience, some ability to take responsibility and accountability, some repentance in their soul, man, some goodness in their soul, some self-acknowledgement in their soul, they're able to change it. So it says, as you know, publishing information which identifies a victim of sexual offense without the express written consent is a criminal offense under the sexual offenses. So it is under written consent because not only did we do it on recording, which she gave me that, but it was then written in a transcript, and it was sent to her, and she has it. Does that make sense? However, the last thing I want to do is be in this situation with this person and her family. They're doing this because they wanted a refund, and they're paying a hell of a price for this. And they're teeing themselves up in order to do that. They are teeing themselves badly. The Sexual Offences Act, Amendment Act 1992 said you basically can mention it. So it says here, this story is also expected to include how you, describe deeply private details of the woman's childhood abuse when she had revealed in confidential mentoring sessions at Lighthouse. Chris, do you remember anything like that? Even though they brought it to us. We're responding to what they're writing in the mail when we're doing this. We're not just going online and doing this because we're nasty. But this is how they're going to paint us. They think that because I can get nearly 1 million copies out in any one day, that changes the truth, that changes reality. This is how these people are. This is how they operate. I mean, they're disgusting, man. You people are foul. You're disgusting. Daily Mail, you're foul, man. You're disgusting. You are. You're disgusting. You're embarrassing. You really, really are. You think that because you write, you say it a lot, and because you can produce 1 million copies, that it's more true because you produce 1 million copies than if you produce one. That you somehow this power pack and you're this authority. You're just bullies, man. You intimidate everybody. And you will be held to rights. This will not be allowed. I'm telling you now, I'm taking this public, I'm taking this to government, I'm telling you now, worldwide, this is not going to be allowed soon. You are abusing freedom. In the name of freedom of speech and the freedom of the press, you're abusing freedom with your big power, journalistic egos to try and destroy people. And you destroyed many people and made many people commit suicide and whatever. You're just awful. You really, really are, all of you. And if those of you that have worked there ought to be ashamed of yourselves, of the Daily Mail. Absolutely ashamed of who you are. But do you remember me describing deeply private details of the woman's childhood abuse? I just mentioned that it was child abuse. There was no ways this is something I would do. So that is nonsense. Again, this is sensationalism. This is nonsense. This is how they sell newspapers. And they work out that if I did hold them for liable, because they don't know the evidence I really have or don't have, they're taking a risk here, but that's a risk they take every single day. And they pay out, and they pay more than anyone else, because they're dealing in the sandpit full of poo, where children are throwing poo at each other. Does that make sense? And it's their sandpit. It's the Daily Mail sandpit. And I'm telling you now, there's a family member in this person of this sexual abuse that is in the Daily Mail that somehow is telling legal or whatever, they're getting around it, because let me tell you what, they're either worse than I think, and I already think bad of them as do most people. They're worse than we think. Or someone, either Adam Luck or was pushing his luck, along with Tom Kelly, who's pushing his leprechaun clan, but at the end of the day are pushing their luck and lying and cheating with the illegal section or whatever in order to get this through. The many hoops that they have to jump through in order to do that. But this is the sort of thing people don't take on the Daily Mail. They're not doing this because anything to get back at me. I'm holding them accountable. But anything to get, and all they're doing is making it worse. Because if it's not hubris and hate make you stupid. Hubris, pride, and hate make you stupid. And this is what they're doing here. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's personal.
It's personal, they're breaking it down. That's what this is.
And
you're not going to kill me, man.
yeah.
Tom, you're not. You're not going to kill me. You in the Daily Mail, you're just not going to. I'm telling you now, you're not. You're not going to kill Lighthouse. You're not going to kill our work. You're just not going to do it. All you're doing is exposing this family, because eventually through a court of law, it will then come public. It will be in the public domain through a court. What you're doing is exposing them, Tom. You're not doing this family any favors. You're trying to nail me, but you're really nailing them, because they are living in the house of cards and the house of secrets and the glass house from where they throw stones. Because they're foolish and stupid and hubristic and they've got away with abuse for so long. It's not taking this to a whole brand new level. You better believe that. And the people really interested in this thing. Seriously, I mean, the last article, 2-page article, you repeated things so often, it's so ridiculous, it's such bad journalism, it's so lazy and so ill-founded and so wrong and so immoral and so abhorrent that people and other journalists are looking at that and saying it's one of the worst things we've ever seen the Daily Mail do. The fact that it's based on falsehood and it's provable. You're in a very, very bad position. But really who you're nailing is not us, Tom. You're not nailing us. If I've made a mistake and I'm wrong, I'll say I'm sorry. You're not nailing us. You're nailing the poor people who eventually, everyone's going, I wonder who they are. I wonder who they are. I took that down very quickly. As soon as Lizzie spoke to me, I took it down. Why didn't that family go to, why did they go to the Daily Mail and say, please write an article? Why did they go to Lizzie and get Lizzie to write to me? Why didn't their lawyer write to me? Because they don't want to go to a lawyer and get this out. They're embarrassed, wouldn't you be? I'd be mortified to go to a lawyer and tell him that this is what our house of cards, this is the glass house, this is the house, that Jack built, man, and what Jack and Jill do behind the doors. I mean, we wouldn't want it. So they went to Lizzie about the Daily Mail going, see, I told you if I got involved, you see what would happen? And now, yes, it is happening. You told them that it would happen. You were scared to put your name in there. I won't mention the name, but scared to put her name in there because they had every idea that this would happen. And that's why it took so long for them to produce the first article. Tom Kelly, you are making this worse for everyone else. And anybody who sees this article that really cares about Lighthouse or cares about where we're going and cares about what we're doing, we're a little business. They're going to see this. And they're going to see this before you even get this article out, Tom. The people that really matter to us will see this article before anyone else. Anyone else who sees us, who we can't work with, don't work with, aren't our clients, aren't our psychodemographic model, aren't the sort of character or competence or whatever we want to work with. You're writing to the world we're not interested in. It doesn't affect us at Lighthouse. They're not our clients. It's not who we're looking for. We're looking for a specific type of character and a certain type of competence who will work with us. Someone who takes some responsibility, takes some accountability, has some, goodness sake, if not Christian, secular ability to look at themselves and repent for their sin or their wrongdoing or their fault or how they've hurt someone else. The world is worse, not because we do wrong, but because of what we do with what we do wrong, which is terrible. We ignore it. We don't take accountability. Right a minute. No true contrition in this situation. Does that make sense? No true contrition. Hey, Brutus. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is this is the situation that we're dealing with. And they're bullies. And they're bullying other people, and that's got to stop. End of. So the stories expect to include how you describe deeply private details of the woman's childhood. I just didn't. And I have every evidence of that. And in fact, it just didn't. And that'll come out of court. I just didn't. I just said that there was a sexual abuse. And it was the person who came on and her family who started this whole thing with the Daily Mail. They didn't go to the police. They didn't go through the courts because they have no grounds. But what they can do is make up stories and get, their family member or their family friend or whatever that works at the Daily Mail to go there so they can write allegations or accusations extending the trolling and a group of people that are trying to kill us and murder us here at Lighthouse, which are failing absolutely dismally, by the way. They're failing dismally. They're trying to blacken us. And to the people we care about and who we want to work with, it's helping us. It doesn't make that what you're doing doesn't make you liable, not liable. It doesn't make the fact that what you've done here is criminal and civilly liable for the damage and the intention of what you're doing. What you've done is taken a smear campaign on the internet from a bunch of, for over a year now, have been trying to destroy us and placed the information in the Daily Mail, which is biased and prejudiced and false, and we have all the evidence for it. Your newspaper can't take falsehoods and make them true because you're an authority. You're foul, man. You're disgusting with this stuff. And Lizzie said, your questionable practice at Lighthouse. First of all, Lizzie, you know nothing about how we operate at Lighthouse, and you know it. That's the first thing. The second thing is, my goodness, what a place to use the word questionable practices from the Daily Mail. I heard it the other day, Daily Fail. I've never heard that, but I saw it. I understood. I always heard people say anti the Daily Mail. I couldn't understand what they were on about because I never read it. Seriously. And it's mostly read by old people. God bless them. Seriously, whenever I see the Daily Mail, I see all the Daily Mail with old people walking on. You know, most of the young people are buying the Sun or the Mirror or whatever, and the rest are buying the Times and the FT or whatever. We buy the Times and the FT. Good old Times and FT. We love you. But at the end of the day, identified her current location. No, we didn't. I don't even know where her current location is. I have no idea where her current location is. There's no way that is true. What? Even after she had told you how she had to move abroad to escape you and Lighthouse. So I think what she mentioned was that she's now in New Zealand. I will reiterate this. She did not move location because of Lighthouse. She wanted to move location when she came to Lighthouse. When she became an associate partner elect on the associate partner elect program, which is what a refund for, which is what all this is about. She never got that refund for being part of the associate elect program. She wanted to go to she wanted to go back then when she first started. And we said, well, why don't you and I said this before, why don't you take this Lighthouse, us, as a partner, take it to New Zealand? And she said, oh, well, that's an option. Let's talk about that. And we did. We spoke for many hours between us as partners with her. We were quite excited by it, that she could take it there. We'd give her all the support that she needed. And we'd also assist her financially where that was needed, if that was needed. Which she could have done, and we wouldn't be involved in this. She wouldn't need a refund because she'd be making money in New Zealand by helping others, by serving others and getting a return on investment, her investment in herself. So there's no ways that we've identified her current location, except we said that it was in New Zealand. New Zealand is a large place. I mean, it's two islands. I didn't mention which one. I don't know where her current location is. I know where the current country is. But again, you see how they play with words to make it sound bad. This is what these people do, man. They train in poo throwing in a sandpit, the Daily Mail sandpit. They say the Daily Mail poo throwing sandpit. Does that make sense?
They're implying that it's the exact house. Like
exactly.
The address.
Exactly.
And we
exactly.
don't even know
That's
that this person's definitely there.
We don't even know that she's actually definitely in New Zealand. Absolutely. We haven't spoken to her for absolutely ages. But her family brought into the public domain. She brought into the public domain. And when you bring something in the public domain and you're accusing people of falsehoods, we've got to sit up and say, listen, this is what's behind it. Yeah. And apparently this slipped in. So as soon as we were told, we took it out immediately, literally within 10 minutes of me receiving that email, that was done. And then I changed it. There's no ways that we'd want to do that, as hurt her. But these were the people that brought this to us. We're responding to them. We're responding to the Mail. We're responding to Reddit with them on it. This is a coordinated campaign that the police are now looking at from a group of people that have tried to destroy our businesses, our houses, our families, whatever, our lives, for over a year now because of refunds. Yeah.
I said something because just to highlight just one example of what the Daily Mail standards for themselves and what they claim they're holding here. There's a picture of your home.
Yes.
And its location.
Yes.
In the previous article.
Yes.
And they're saying, right there.
Yes.
Where your children sleep.
Yes. And
now, there's a whole country.
Yes.
A whole country.
Yeah, where she may be. We don't even know. Where we don't even know.
So now, but now we're the pariahs.
Oh, it changes now because it's now going on to them.
No, because
it's now going on to them. Listen, this is going to go to court. I bet you anything you like these people try and settle out of court because they won't want this to go to court. This lady who worked with us as such a point elect, their family will not want the House of Horrors to go through court and go. It'll be in the public domain anyway, unless they settle out of court, and they'll be settling for a lot. Because I don't know what she's told her family, or what her family told the Daily Mail, or what she's told the Daily Mail, or what she's told her family, but what the reality of this person, we remember her well. We had to remind her what we spoke about that morning, that day. Her mentor literally had to spend extra hours with her to explain to her what actually happened, and then what to actually remember. So this is what's happening. So this person doesn't remember, and I think it's because, bless her, because of her damage, but from her family. But her family are now holding us accountable that we're this terrible, trendy, trendy life coaching company who do these terrible things, who fleece devotees. Actually, the devotees are fleecing us, and this is a classic case that because they can't fleece us and we don't let them fleece us, that they're holding us accountable here. Well, nonsense. I can't apologize and make right what I haven't done wrong. But we can go to court and get justice. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. And you can do this, Tom Kelly, and jump up and down and whistle Dixie, man, out of your journalistic era. But I can tell you now for free. Eventually. Truth is incontrovertible. And your Daily Mail can't change that. And it can't change the evidence. And it can't change what really happened. If I've done something wrong, I need to be held accountable because something slipped in that shouldn't have slipped in and then we had to remove it. I'll say, I'm sorry that happened. And we've broken the law. I'm terribly sorry. I apologize right now. It is a terrible thing. But they were the ones that brought it to me. They wanted an unjust refund. They decided to destroy us because of an investment that this person made in herself, and it changed her plans for her life and wanted to move on after several years and having spent literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours of our time supporting her. You've got to be kidding me, because she couldn't get it from her family. So all that's happening is that this family is exposing themselves slowly but surely, and with another article, it's just going to make it worse. It's just going to make it worse. There's going to be more videos, there's going to be more discussions like this. And all the people in the world reading the Daily Mail doesn't affect us or affect anybody, but the people that actually look at the article. Every time they look at the article, guess what's linked to it? All these videos. Me, us, the truth, the reality, which is on its way to court with all the evidence we've compiled and put together in a structured, organized format and frame, which our solicitors are now going to be looking at. And is going to be going. So you're making it worse for yourselves. You may, for a little while, with some people, make an impression against us, but really the people we can't even use anyway, in any way or form, either serving us or us serving them. There's just no ways. That's not the people we're looking for. Okay, they're not in our psychodemographic model. People who we can help don't read the Daily Mail. In fact, we've never had anyone here read the Daily Mail, and nor will they. We just don't have that type of person that come here that gets the help they need. It's just, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. Okay? So call the woman's behavior narcissistic and toxic. Well, it was narcissistic and toxic. And what's it got to do with mentioning the sexual abuse without her permission when she has given me permission? Well, she was toxic, and she was. That's what that swearing was about, because of her toxicity here. And again, it's making it worse for her. Now, before the articles even come out, this is out. And all the people that really care about that article, there's two sides. Those who wanted it and those who look at it and go, we can see the dark side, and those who didn't want it. Those are the three groups that see this. Listen, man, this is a storm in a teacup, man. Because it goes to the Daily Mail doesn't change a thing. And if you get another article out, guess what? All these videos connect to that. All you're doing is helping us find the right people and get the wrong people away. You're actually putting a fire break right the way through the people we can and will work with and those who can't and won't work with. Daily Mail, that's all you're doing. You're qualifying. Seriously, you are qualifying. What angers me is the type of business you are, the way you make people make money. You deal in people's misery. You deal in people's lives. You destroy their lives. You put houses in the day. You make children scared. And you don't care because that's how you make your money. And it's all done in the public interest. It's not done in the public interest. It's made in your interest to make money in the name of the public interest. The public interest is making sure that when you write something down, Mr. Kelly, let me educate you. That when you put something down and it's correct and that's accurate and that it's founded, not these allegations and accusations that are either true or false, but you don't care because you're hanging on these poor souls that are actually going to be held accountable in the end, along with you. That is in the public interest to come across with falsehoods. Does that make sense? Do you hear what I'm trying to say, man? And you can only get away with this because no one's stepping up and talking about it. But I'm going to create a platform for people to come and talk about the Daily Mail specifically, and how newspaper, or any newspaper, how they've abused them. You're barking up the wrong tree, Mr. Kelly. I can tell you now. Because every time you do this, you're looking in the mirror. Postful unlawful videos containing this information. This is just like a repeat of the same thing in different ways, okay? This is what they do. They wrote a 2-page article that could have written literally 10 column centimeters. It was so, well, maybe a bit more than that. Maybe 20 column centimeters instead of, I don't know, 20 pages or whatever it was. Seriously, man, it was that bad. Posted unlawful videos containing this information on YouTube and on the Lighthouse website, and these videos were widely shared by the group's senior members on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn for 24 hours until belatedly being edited. They weren't belatedly edited, they were edited when they were edited, but at the end of the day when we realized that had slipped in, because all we were doing was recording a meeting. We were going through it as seniors and deciding what to do about it. And so we covered the thing and said, why don't we video and get it out? And something had slipped in, because it wasn't a dedicated video for the trolls, or for the readers of the Daily Mail. This was a meeting that we held, that we were going to hold anyway, and I said, let's get together and discuss this. Let's see what we're going to do with it, but why don't we video it and share it with people? And that's how that happened. By the way, it wasn't let's get together to share this with people, it was let's get together to talk about it, let's go through it, and then we can actually share it with others and so they can understand the reality of truth. Daily Mail are not used to this. They're not used to it. But whole countries, whole monarchs, not just Daily Mails, have fallen because they've picked on people for too long. The news of the world is no longer here. Don't underestimate this. The news of the world was here for a long time. It's no longer here. It was an institution. It's no longer here because of malpractice, because of their abuse, of their lack of journalistic integrity. Okay? Okay, and on Facebook and LinkedIn for 24 hours until belatedly being edited. It wasn't belatedly edited, it was belatedly removed when we found out there was one bit that apparently was illegal, which wasn't. And it still isn't. But of course they're not interested in that. They're interested in their story. And last time we sent them a 17-page thing that took us hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours to put together, and they had a pop at that. Please, man. I'm never going to do that for you again, Mr. Kelly. This is what we're going to be doing from now on, man. We're going to be holding you accountable before you even get it out. But you'll get my response, but you'll get it this way. You'll get it as a member of the public. Well, I'll give you your own private copy, right, with my signature on it. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is you be treated like everybody else. You don't have my respect. And you don't have the respect of most people. Seriously, the muck rack. Seriously, you are the rack, Mr. Kelly, that the muck is on. How appropriate. Your actions in doing this is criticized as disgusting, horrendous, and bullying. My goodness, that's the pot calling the kettle black. My goodness gracious me. You've got no pride, man, Mr. Kelly, Daily Mail. Seriously, criticized as disgusting, horrendous, and bullying. What's disgusting, horrendous, and bullying? Is trying to take a small business and destroy it because somebody didn't get a refund that they weren't deserved. That wasn't deserved. And nor are you interested in that. What's disgusting is backing a whole group of people, wittingly or unwittingly, because I see the foolishness in you, sir. I also see the bias and prejudice in you, sir. I see the lack of character and competence in you, sir. And at the end of the day, a whole group of people that every single day for the last 14 months has tried to break us and kill us here unlawfully. Whether they had a point or not, it was unlawful the way they've consistently tried to kill us. It is wrong, it is criminal, and the police are on it now. But you don't care about that. You think you're a law to yourself, you people. You editors, you journalists, so-called. Seriously. You think you're a law unto yourself. You're not a law unto yourself. And eventually the Daily Mail, I feel that this sort of newspaper, if you don't change your ways, is going to be shut down. Because you can't throw that sort of mud at us when you are this sort of person, this unscrupulous, this level of immoral, unethical practice, trading in the misery of others in the name of public interest and good, when there's not an iota of truth in it, pseudo purveyors of truth and reality, which indeed you're not. You're just dramatic what's the word I'm looking for? Sensationalized. You know, it's crazy, man. You people must come to an end, man. You're disgusting. Sorry. And so I'm saying to you that you have been criticized, Mr. Kelly, by hundreds and hundreds of people now here as disgusting, horrendous, and bullying. What's this poor person and the house they come from, where she grew up with her family, that was one of the most disgusting things, most horrendous thing, and bullying doesn't. I mean, bullying. My goodness, I mean, we can't even use the word. It's so scaled down. Tyrants, where a little person grew up. Let's not go gender. Let's go name here. But what they went through and what we had to deal with to help this person, who now are trying to kill our business and where our own children are scared in their beds. But I can tell you now, you go look at the article, what I've said here and what they write there, it won't be balanced. And if it is, it's only because of this video.
But still, they'll struggle to.
No, they'll struggle to because it's not in their characters. It's just they have no human integrity, let alone journalistic.
Yeah.
They are irresponsible with what they have. If you have any comment on this, please could you get back to me by 5 p.m. today. Thank you for your help. You disgusting, horrendous bullying. Thank you for your help to get this article out. Can you do what you did last time and send us a 17? No ways, sir. No ways. We moved on from that. But this is my reply, and it's my reply to the world before your article even comes out, even if it does come out. If it doesn't come out, we'll make that announcement and say, well, there's a reason for that. But believe me, these are bullies. This is the sort of thing. By 5 p.m. today, they don't care about what we have here, what we've got to do here, what challenges we have here. That we are, we've got other things to focus on, not just this. That we spent so many thousands of hours and so much money just responding to that first article that they are accountable for, because of the falsehoods that they were, perpetrating and, relaying, communicating, and then adds it with kind regards. Tom Kelly, kind regards. There's nothing kind, and there's nothing regards about it. I'm this serious, objective journalist that checks all the facts, and I'm very responsible with it. They broke almost every single standard in IPSO, the regulatory body or whatever. It's all run by journalists and in the industry. Seriously. It's like a pedophile on the stand, and the jury are pedophiles. That are all the mates, all in the same industry, and all the mates, all have the same interests, all in the same clubs, all in the same, And it is a very, very pertinent illustration for this case that's happening here. But I'd like to just say this before I get a comment here from others, that at the end of the day, you're doing more harm, and these people are doing more harm to this family and to these people. They're not getting justice for them through the press, jungle justice, or holding us accountable or whatever to the court of public opinion. They're holding themselves in the court of public opinion. They're rendering themselves guilty, and whatever they say we are doing, they're perpetrating and are making it worse for this family and making it worse for this person. Yeah. We were in the process of trying to help this person, and we were doing a lot of hard work and giving her the advice, and still they had the arrogance and hubris to bring it out. But they don't go to the police, and I just want to relay this again. They don't go to the police, and they don't go to the courts, because they don't want the family to, and the reality and all the facts to come out into the public domain, which the Daily Mail would then probably write about, even though they try to fight for them in their corner, so they think. So they are basically defending that, without bringing any of that up, and attacking us, when we were the ones helping this person deal with the terrible challenges that she had at home with her family. How did we get to this position? Only this world. Only people with a very skewed, flawed, immoral and ethical view, delusional view or worldview, an entitled view, a narcissistic view, a pathologically psychopathic view, which is then justified by people that aren't that far away from who they are, who pose as journalists in plain sight, who are hiding in plain sight, with the power of the pen that scares the life out of people. Just scare me, sir. And there's a lot of people who are not scaring it now because we're standing up to you. Yeah. And you will be held up to rights, I can tell you now. There's no ways. Because writing another article is just going to create more videos that are going to expose you and deal with the situation and hold the people accountable. You just made it you've just brought these people closer to justice, the people that have hurt this person. The fact that I brought it out, if it was a child, it would have come out before, and it would have come out to the police, and it would have come out. It didn't go to the police, and it didn't go anywhere else or to the press because the person was over 16. But this person really wanted to hold her parents accountable for the wrongs that had happened to her at home. Let's not say what that was, but the wrongs that are happening at home. But now they're forcing us to speak about it again. Here we are, and they're forcing us, they're holding us accountable for it, but asking us for our comment. Now, how do we comment on this without bringing it up again? I mean, come on. I mean, this is how bad this is, guys. How do we comment on this? They're putting it down. How do we comment on this without bringing it up again, whether they're going to print it? So now we've had to bring it up again. So now it's worse for this poor person. Yeah. And for their family and where they're going. They're digging graves, not realizing that those graves are for themselves, as one of our partners put it.
I think the thing that is most evident here, in the name of so-called championing whoever the people are, whether it's caring for this person or going, Paul Ward did these terrible things to you, these people actually believe that the male has allegiance with them.
Yes.
They believe that the male has their back.
Yes.
Do you think that the male would sacrifice themselves and their business for you when it really comes down to it? They will turn in less than a heartbeat. They will turn on you. When this comes out, and you explain this to me, so whatever comes out now in court, they are always going to win, or they think they will.
Yes.
Because no matter who wins in this so-called little battle that they've created in the sandpit, they're going, but we can always report on it. So while they're killing each other, so they're trying to turn us against, you're saying the trolls and everything that's going on. This poor individual, I mean, I've been on many calls where she spoke to me personally about it. This is not someone that we are treating as this thing like the Daily Mail is. This is a pawn. They are treating the story as a pawn. They're treating this individual as a pawn. It's disgusting. Because actually, and they're using the care, the thousands of hours of phone calls with this individual that we have on record, not to beat her over the head, to help her, and the reality will come out. The reality will come out. What's there? It's not. And you.
Well, in order to create a story, they're hanging them out to dry. Well, that's the people who have suffered to the most of this, who they, in the name of protecting them, in the name of fighting for justice, having written all these unfactual slurs, right? These false accusations in the newspaper, which is like seriously, man. The one thing that goes against us in terms of compensation is that it hasn't affected us. It's helped us. It's actually helped us. But it doesn't make it right that they did it. Because it could have harmed us. And they've got to be held accountable for it. But it's actually helped us. Mr. Kelly, your last article helped us. I kid you not, I can't believe it. That I was that concerned that an article would come out that would be unbalanced and biased and prejudiced. I cannot believe how it's created a literally the sheep from the goats, basically, right? How all the people who have any moral or ethical or any intuition, conscience or otherwise, self-awareness or mutual awareness, that they've seen the way that this has been written, and they see our videos and they see who we are, and they know who we are from the past. And they just look at that and go, you're talking about someone else, man. You're making it up. The only people who can not know what's going on here or not be able to make a decision, or those who are biased and prejudiced and make a decision with it, or read it and don't know where they stand with it. I mean, seriously, people don't care. People don't care. That's what I'm getting here. People just don't care. You know what I mean? They read it, they go past it. Hardly anybody even saw this article. I mean, how many of them? I don't. Seriously. I kid you not. Stay with me. So maybe this time you put it on as a headline, huh?
Yeah.
Because the last one was hardly seen. And I'm not goading you. I'm just saying to you that the type of people that would believe this stuff and the sort of and not see it for what it is are people that lack so much wisdom. They lack so much understanding, so much wisdom. They lack so much reason. You know, the intellectual capacities are so low, and capabilities. Their intellectuality is so low that we couldn't work with them anyway. Okay? And so there's the situation of how that works. You want to finish?
Yeah, thank you. I think something that, in producing this article, while they may not have mentioned the source, and as you said, we've taken full responsibility and apologized.
Yeah.
Going like we didn't realize that, because they mentioned these things. They knew full well there's a good chance that it would come out as to who this person is.
Yes.
Not from us, but from someone else. I mean, there are people who talk, and it comes out eventually. Now, the motivation there, and the desire to cause damage at whatever cost.
Yes.
And to go, and there's very little understanding of what evil is in this world.
Yes.
There's a big confusion between wickedness and evil.
Yes.
Wickedness is doing something bad, and it's overtly bad. It's
yes.
clear.
Yes.
That is bad. It's
yes.
wrong.
Yes.
Evil is doing bad in the name of good. And if you look here, you can smell. If you can smell evil, if you can smell the dark, cold, metallic taste of it, you will start to see what actually lives in these things, in these beings, in these publications, because it's there to feed off the despair of the destruction of people's lives. It's like it's a glorified soap opera that continues day, but with real lives, not manifesting in some sort of way, shape, or form. Real human beings, and yes, what they do is they then come and dump it on us.
Yes.
Like we're causing the damage. If you really care about these people, go pay for their legal fees, and don't do it on these platforms like this, where you're profiting from it. You're doing it purely to profit, and you know it.
Yes.
You're wrong in.
Yes, 100%. And you self-justify. You know, you justify yourself. You never look in. You can't do that job and look in. You can't be inward looking with a conscience and do this work. You just can't. So we'll leave it like that. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Lots of love. God bless. Have a good day.